Khama Worthy. Welcome to MMA Live TV, mate. How's it going?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Trying to kind of, like I said, I'm kind of multitasking, driving and talking.
That's it. That's the way, mate. I've seen a lot of fighters. Obviously, everyone's busy, and there are different hats that you have. Right now, you've got
Right,
the father's hat going on, but they've
right.
perfected the art of the drive interview. I was going to say drive-by interview, and I stopped myself there, but I still said it. But they've perfected the art
Drive-by
of the.
interview. Yeah, that's a little different.
So, how many of the interviews have you done in the car?
A lot, because like my manager will hit me up or people hit me up on interviews. I'm like because I run a gym and I have a family, I'm like, yo, I have very little bit of time. So I'm like, I tell people, I'm like, yo, when I can squeeze you in, that's what I can get. So I've done like 5 or 6 in the car.
You're right.
Like, sometimes I'll get home, but this time I had to go pick up the little one and her friend. So I was like, yeah, so yeah, I'm driving.
Nice
We
one.
go. Am I taking her home or we all going home?
Mate,
Yeah,
I was trolling through your Instagram, and I was, severely impressed by your street breakdown of when to grapple or when to not grapple. Friday edition.
that's real. That's real life. Like, you don't try to grapple people that outweigh you by 120 pounds. A lot of people were like, yo, you gotta do this again. Dude, there's a fight scene from one of my favorite movies, Kiss the Dragon with Jet Li.
Yeah,
And there's a fight scene where he's fighting this guy who throws really good, like, wide kicks.
yeah.
So he took him in between, like, a whole bunch of tables, and the guy couldn't throw his kicks because they were really wide. And he was able to, like, fight off the inside fighting and, like, jack him up that way. So I think that's going to be my next breakdown
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
for that one.
there's a market for it for sure. You do it well. You do it well. How's life in Pittsburgh at the moment? Like, how are the COVID restrictions treating you?
I mean, we don't really have many here, like, besides you just wear your mask and, everything that isn't completely. I don't go to bars and stuff and nightclub. I'm not out clubbing and stuff, so it's not really a big restriction to me. I go training and
Yep.
I maybe go out. I take the lady, my woman out for a date or something, but that's really it. Like, just nothing's really going wild. But I've been in training camp for so long, so it's not really that bad. Like, all the gyms are back to training full time now, so I'm getting full training and just nothing over the top.
Gotcha. And how's the gym? Are we back to full sort of numbers? Everything's all good there?
Yeah, it's close to being back there. It's about right back to how it was before COVID. We lost a decent amount of people, but we're we're reaching people and more people as we speak. So I like after like this will be just a good publicity push, and I think it'll put us back to where we were before, and we'll start going past that.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Mate, I'd be remiss to ask, but obviously in this side of the world, we don't experience it in the same level that you do. But last week, the NBA and other sports leagues kind of stopped and reflected about the implications of the shootings and all that sort of stuff. How's the environment there, and what are your views on that?
I mean, like the environment. Like, I mean, it's stays the same. I mean, my views are as a black man in America, like, it's blatantly, it's nothing new. Like, it's weird because everyone's acting like it's something new. I'm like, it's been the same shit that's been going on for forever. It's nothing new. We've been asking for it and asking for something different, and it keeps happening. Like, people, you would think, like, like, but it's fucked up personally, if you ask me, because I think the reason it happens is people I keep making excuses for it. You know what I mean? It's like you make excuses for a reason why, like, a guy will beat his wife or something like that. It'll give him a reason to continue to do it, or he was stressed out, or he had a bad day. Like, you keep making excuses for
Mm.
it, then it gives. But like right now, fortunately, enough of people are bringing it to the front. But still, like, I think in order to solve the problem, it has to be like a collective thing. It can't just be like people being upset about it. It has to be the people that have the power to change it. So, I mean, like I said, things are, I think, going to, like, take a different direction. It just takes time. But I'm also telling people that doesn't mean you just shut up and, like, wait around. You just keep making as much noise as you fucking can.
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. Tell us about yourself, mate. What is the reason that you fight?
Money.
That's it. Kareem?
I'm a prize fighter.
Yep.
Like, I mean, I fight because that's what I do for. That's what I do for a living. Now, of course, I have a passion for it, but like, I mean, a lot of people do a lot of free shit that they have passion for. Like, oh, I have a passion for helping people. I'll do that for free.
Yep.
But I fight for money. You're not gonna get me to just fucking go here and fight. Like, no, I fight for money. I'm a prize fighter. It's the job I've taken to provide for my family and for myself, and to, like, do things. But like I said, more my passion is helping people. I enjoy helping people. I enjoy helping. Like, I enjoy teaching. That's my passion. I do that for a little bit of money. But if I'm fighting, you're gonna have to pay me. I fight because it brings in money, and I'm
Yep.
good at it.
As a fighter that's obviously gone through like the regional circuit and now at the UFC, how do you balance that whole financial aspect? Obviously, your manager plays is a big role there, but like, how do you navigate that game?
Well, I mean, in the UFC right now, I'm not really like in any position to be like, oh, I need this, I need that, I need that, I need this. I mean, like, shit, I'm working while there's a damn pandemic going on, so I'm not complaining about anything. But when that time comes into play, I think the way that I fight kind of speaks for itself. I mean, I've been looking at UFC fighters that kind of fight very similar to what I do, like the way I do. They're very entertaining. They get paid really well,
Yep.
like the Black Beast. I mean, like, he's like win some, like, but he fights like. I mean, like, the Black Beast probably had one boring fight. That was just one with Francis Ngannou.
Yep.
I don't ever want to have a boring fight in my entire UFC career. I mean, I want to have fun fights. I say that all the time. So I'm going to be must see TV. And, like, seriously, must see TV is more important than being a champion now in the UFC.
Yep.
Being must see TV is more important than being a champion. The champion just means you've had the skill set that's laid out at the must see TV means people will skip paying their rent to watch you fight. And the UFC knows that, so you'll get paid more. Like, DC said it perfect the other day. He was like, I think he was talking to Corey Anderson. He was like, you don't fight for belts. He's like, you fight for money. And if someone told me that I could get paid 10 times what I'm making right now, but no one will ever know that I'm fighting, I'm gonna go fight there. I'm not gonna go fight for a belt or try to fight for you. I mean, if I can get paid to fight in some guy's basement and get paid 10 times more, I want to do that because I'm a prize fighter. I don't really fight to let people know how good I am.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, my self-recognition is enough for me. So, I mean, as in this thing, like I said, like, making sure that you make entertaining fights and stuff like that, and then the money's gonna your fights will be worth the while, and people know that. So I'm just gonna keep performing, keep doing what I'm doing. I know that I every time I go out there, I'm gonna give it my all. I think, like, when it's time to be like, hey, after my first contract, or like, we'll sit down and we'll see it, and we'll take it from there.
Yep. Your early fights in the UFC have really been characterized by you being an underdog. Now, I'm sure like people that betted on you would have loved that, but did you relish that position, or does it light a fire in you? How do you feel about that?
No, I don't pay. Everyone asks me that question. I'm like, who makes these lists? Who's the guy that makes this list? Is it like some MMA god or some guru? Is it Randy Couture? No, it's some freaking
what
nerd.
you got against Randy Couture?
It's like some guy who doesn't know, who's probably never fought or never punched anyone in his life, and he's like, I'm gonna make these betting odds because I think. I'm like, how do you know? How do you know what the person put into their camp? How do you know? Like, the odds making is completely stupid. There's no logic behind it. It's like, how do you know what someone's camp was? How do you know if they have an injury? How do you know if they switch camps? How do you know if they were too bad the last couple of fights? Now they switch. They can be corrected, and like, you're sitting like, oh well, this is how this should be. I'm like, you don't know, so I don't pay attention to that at all.
Yeah, gotcha.
I think in the world of MMA, it's a coin toss. Every fight is literally a coin toss because there's too many weapons and there's too many ways to be put out. It's too easy to lose.
Absolutely, absolutely. Your most recent fight against Luis Pena, that had to be rewarding in terms of how that played out. Run us through that fight.
Yeah, man, I just went out there. Like, it was such a long and weird guy to deal with, but I dealt with it. I was patient. I gave my like I said, I gave myself a C minus for that because I waited a little bit too long on the ground and stuff. I could have done a little bit more, but I was too busy worried about him because he was just so freaking long. I was worried about what he was doing instead of what I was doing. It took me to the third round to really start to do what I wanted to do properly. And like when after the third round, kind of late in the second round, I kind of started to make a switch. But all right, I'm just going to do what I normally do when I'm in these situations when someone has me here and they start to work. So, but I mean, like the fight played out exactly how I thought it would play out. Like I was working that choke. Like I have multiple different submissions, from jumping triangles to that. For when people like approach me stupidly with their takedown approach and because they're getting beat standing up, I know they don't like it, and that's probably what they're going to end up doing.
Yep. What's more rewarding for you when it comes to finishing a fight? Is it like a well-timed strike, or do you like just choking people out?
Nah, I'm fight. My head coach, and I was like, man, I felt soft as hell getting up from that fight because my thing is, I always say, if you could choke him, could have knocked him out. You should have chose to knock him out. Nah, I prefer. I mean, I've done them both, and there's nothing like knocking a person unconscious. They don't even come in the same ballpark. And I know a lot of jujitsu guys are like, oh, that's like, nah, nope, nope, no comparison. They're like two different universes. It's like DC and Marvel. Yeah, DC's cool, but that's fucking Marvel, completely different. Like, no, let me come in. Yeah, I mean, I get to win.
Yep.
I got I got the win. I got the win and stuff. Yeah, it was super cool. But if I could have knocked him out, if I would have had it my way, I would have knocked him out. Yeah, for sure.
Fair enough. Fair enough. How was
But
this?
it takes two to tango.
Of course,
It
absolutely.
takes two to engage in that.
Yep.
Camp, good man. Like I got an extra week because I don't know what the hell. He said he needed an extra week or some shit. I don't know. They hit me up with like he said something was up and he needed an extra week. So I was like, whatever. So that kind of pissed me off. But I mean, he just gave me an extra week to train, extra week to prepare.
Yep.
I'm originally supposed to be leaving tomorrow morning, but now I have to get still train and still spar and do all kind of stuff. So that's kind of irritating. But it's it is what it is, and I run with it accordingly and just do things the way they're supposed to be done, and I'll be ready to go come the 12th.
Yeah, absolutely. And what are your thoughts on Ottman Azaitar as an opponent? Like you were supposed to fight him initially too, right?
Yeah, I was supposed to fight him in April. I've been asking to fight him since he came to the UFC. Like I said, he's dangerous. He's very, very, very dangerous. He's dangerous. But I mean, like everything's dangerous. But he's extremely dangerous. He has power punching. It's good kickboxing. I just don't think he's faced anyone. Like he's 12-0, but I don't really take it for fighting anyone. But he is very, like I said, he's very dangerous. He has power in both hands. But he has a whole bunch of holes, and I look to exploit them.
Yeah, gotcha. And from a technical perspective, he's a bit of a matador with his pressure sort of approach. There's no doubt that throughout your career you would have fought individuals like that before, right?
Yeah, I mean that's all I fought. I mean I fought a whole bunch of guys like that. That's how guys try to get to me. They apply pressure. So I've become really good at simply nullifying that. I mean, of course, the pressure guy, his job is just to keep applying pressure forward, 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 forward. But I think I know for sure. I've watched his fights, and I've never seen him fight anyone that does what I do.
Yep.
So he's gonna be at a disadvantage for that thing. Like there's very few people in the fight game right now that will fight and give you the angles and style that my style of fighting. So it doesn't matter. I mean, that was the thing with my last fight. Like everyone's like, oh, he's down on American Top Team. I'm like, that's cool, but there's no one down here that like fights like I do.
Yep.
Like they're like, oh, he's fighting with Poirier. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, but Poirier and me don't fight the same. We fight completely different.
Yep.
Hold on 1 second. Which one is hers? But yeah, you have to let her out. But yeah, I mean, like I said, he's dangerous. Everyone's dangerous. If you put my grandma in the cage and you put those little gloves on her, she can swing and knock me out, like just the way it is. Like I tell all my students that, like there's everyone can knock out anyone. That's MMA. But in the sense of me, I think my fight IQ is a lot higher,
Mm.
like a lot higher.
Yep.
I think I have a lot more weapons, and I'm just as dangerous. I'm like, dude, I have 9 knockouts.
Yep.
9 knockouts, 2 subs, you know what I mean? Like, and I think I've fought much tougher competition coming up and fighting on the tri-state area and stuff, and like just fought more complete MMA fighters. Like, don't get me wrong, he's fought good guys, but they're just not as complete as the guys that I've been fighting. So, well, we'll have to see. I know he's probably adjusted, and I mean, I don't know. I prepare for him to be adjusted.
Yep.
He could have been fucking eating Twinkies and shit all fucking quarantine, and all I've been doing was training. I own my own gym. All I've been doing was training. So I don't know, but we've prepared, me and my coach, we've prepared for him to have a lot of new tricks, to have add on a lot of different things. We know his wrestling has gotten better, so we probably think he's gonna try to mix in some wrestling.
Yep.
Once he starts getting tagged and stuff. But we come prepared, and we're looking forward to putting him out.
Yeah, absolutely. Not looking past this, but you're in the lightweight division, and the 150-pound division is it's like a shark tank, right? There's just a lot of people there. You have fought in 145, and I know that like when you were growing up, that wasn't like an ideal weight for you. But do you see 155 as your home? Like,
yeah, maybe 170 if I start getting swoller as I get older and stronger or some shit. Like, yeah, I'm not I mean, like I've thought about going back down to 145, but it's just I haven't had a problem. I fought the biggest lightweight in the division, and I didn't feel weaker. I didn't have a problem with it range or anything. So I don't really think it'll be a problem at 155. Like, there's not really a bunch of really gigantic 55ers anymore because people are properly, like, they're understanding that the overly weight cuts don't really do you anything. Besides Pena. Pena is a gigantic 55er. I mean, like,
Yep.
and I can tell. But he, like, you know, there's only so much you can do for your body. Like, you were not allowed to do IVs. You can't pick back on 37 pounds anymore or anything like that. You can't go put 8 IVs in. And the sport has changed. The pace is faster. So you have to be able to keep up with a faster pace. Like, I fight at like 172 pounds.
Yep.
Like, I'm not coming back in like 185 pounds or something. Like, I know there's a guy under my management team, he fights for Bellator. He comes back, he cuts like a whole bunch of weight, and he comes back in really, really big for fights. I'm like, I don't get how he does that. That's nuts.
Yep. Everyone's body's different, I guess. Khama, it's been a pleasure to chat to you, mate.